want to thank the nice people at the Garden State Boxing Academy promoting tonight with Cedric Kushner. We see Ray Annis making his way to the ring. Brings an 18-1 record, 12 knockouts. And we're going to go up right now. We got some boxing dignitaries in the ring. Going to be introduced by our ring announcer, Dennis Miller.
Boxing fans, before our main event begins, we have some luminaries here at ringside and in the ring. First of all, former two-time world champion James Buddy McGirt.
Ahí tenemos a Buddy McGirt. 2 veces campeón del mundo fue, y como entrenador, bueno, se ha dedicado.
Not to be outdone, of course, we have 6-time world champion, current Hall of Famer, the great Emil Griffith. Emil Griffith.
Emil Griffith pasó, se acuerdan todos del tiempo de Carlos Monzón.
And of course, Emil Griffith, John, 6-time world champion. 4 times at welterweight, twice at middleweight.
And never fought at 160 pounds. He was always under the limit, about 154.
And of course, coming up, our main event now, waiting for Bobby Harris to make his way to the ring. Here comes Ray Annis. And maybe we'll throw a trivia question out there tonight. If you can think about the 6 people that he beat for the various world titles. Of course, some of them were duplicates. But let's put that out there.
What are you going to give the winner?
They come to your house for dinner this Sunday night.
I'm going to call them. I'm going to give everybody your home phone number.
Carrie's at home disconnecting it as we speak. There's Bobby Harris. Very anxious, I'm sure, to get back in here. Hasn't fought since September when he had that big loss to Jesse Ferguson. They're bringing him back tough tonight against Ray Annis. Annis, though, coming in a little heavy tonight, though, John. How big a factor?
Well, I think it's a major factor. He weighed in at about, I think, 245, which is the highest of his career. It tied him. And Bobby Harris heard through the grapevine that Ray Annis may not have been training very hard for this fight, but he did not want to get caught up in that kind of a rumor situation. He's prepared.
All right, we're going to go up to our ring announcer, Dennis Miller, with the official introductions for our main event.
Boxing fans, this is the main event of the evening. 10 rounds of heavyweight action. Tonight's contest brought to you by the makers of Corona Beer, along with Cedric Kushner Promotions in association with Garden State Boxing and William Scott Investments, presents the War at the Shore. These bouts are sanctioned and approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, the Honorable Larry Hazard, Commissioner, and seated at ringside. Board members, Jerry Gormley, Stephen Katz, and Al Daniel. Your judges, Emil Conforti, Henry Grant, and Ed Leahy. Your timekeeper at the bell, Lindsey Tucker. Your attending physician at ringside, Dominic Cole and Richard Snepper. Working the ring at this fight, Benji Estevez. Introducing, in the blue corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed with gold. He weighed in this evening at a fighting 245 pounds. From Haiti, his record, 23 wins, 3 defeats, with 17 big knockouts. A big welcome for Ray Annis. His opponent, in the red corner, from Worcester, Massachusetts, wearing the all-black trunks, weighing this evening at a ready 227 pounds. His ring record, 18 wins, 1 loss, with 12 big knockouts. Let's welcome the big, rugged Bobby Harris. 10 rounds.
All right, and the matchup tonight between Ray Annis and Bobby Harris. Same on the height. Again, as we mentioned, Annis coming in at a career-high 245 pounds, slight reach advantage. Annis 6 years older, also 6 years more experienced.
Bobby Harris, one time one of the top amateurs, and turned pro with Bob Arum as his promoter. Bobby now trying to kind of come off that first loss as a young fighter. I sense he lacked some confidence when I spoke with him earlier today, Arnie. He seemed unsure of whether he was going to be able to take that next step up in boxing. It's got to begin here with Ray Annis, who is 17 pounds heavier than when he fought Mike Grant in December. And he told me that he was out of energy in that fight after 2 rounds. So we're going to keep an eye on that.
Nevertheless, he went the full 10 there, and he's been 10 rounds 5 times in his career. Bobby Harris only 10 rounds 1 time, and that was in that devastating loss to Jesse Ferguson. I think if he can get through round number 1 here and get the butterflies out, though, it's going to be a very big turning point for Bobby Harris. Really was given a boxing lesson by the older Ferguson. Showed an incredible amount of heart, though.
He really did. He took a beating in that fight. And actually, he thought he could possibly turn around round 7, if you remember. We called that fight. Jesse Ferguson totally ran out of gas, but Bobby had nothing in the tank.
Warning for hitting on the break. Referee Ben Esteves warns Ray Annis. Annis, very big puncher, 17 knockouts in his 23 wins. Harris should beware. And Harris eats a left hook, followed by a right from Annis.
That's when those doubts will start creeping in, where you start thinking about Jesse Ferguson again.
Oh, and I'm looking in the corner right now. Harris is people, and Harris is hurt. Annis is a big finisher, but Harris also can punch. Catches Annis walking in.
His legs
no
are
legs, though.
Very unsteady, Arnie.
Harris on Queer Street, still a minute 12 to go in round number 1. Ray Annis, a big finisher.
Don't forget, Bobby Harris, not known as a puncher either. His legs are very unsteady.
Annis letting him off the hook a little bit, or just showing a lot of...
well, right hand by Annis. Bobby's hurt. He needs an uppercut. He threw it there and he missed it. That was a shot. As he's leaning forward, that uppercut will connect with Harris. And Harris fighting on pure instinct, Arnie. Wow.
We said incredible heart for Bobby Harris. But at this point, we have to question the chin. He got caught. He's on no legs whatsoever. Ray Annis, though, really taking his time here, showing his experience, not going nuts, not punching himself up, and as you mentioned, maybe a little bit weary about how much he's got in his tank and doesn't want to punch himself out here in round number 1, and really timing his punches.
He really was. I tell you what, he just about had Bobby Harris out of there.
Harris trying to fight back here at end of round number 1, but a big first round for Ray Annis. Lennox Blackmore, the new trainer for Ray Annis, former number 2 middleweight in the world out of Guyana. Very good trainer in Brooklyn. I've had experience working with him. It's excellent work for Murky Sosa. Turned Murky Sosa's career around, in my opinion.
See how calm Ray Annis is in his corner. Now we're going to go to the action in the first round. The left hook starting it off for Annis, and followed with the right hand, and that's the punch that hurt Bobby Harris.
Now, with Harris's chin and everything being suspect, nevertheless, amazing power. Annis just stood there flat-footed, threw that left hook, not off a jab, not off anything, and really buckled Harris badly.
But he was unable to follow up in a significant fashion there, Arnie.
Ben Esteves ordering the mat, and they had ice all over the place here trying to revive Bobby Harris, who had a very tough first round, a beautiful left hook landing by Ray Annis. Harris coming out fast right now, seems to have his legs back, trying to take the fight now to Annis.
But Bobby's primary weapon is that jab.
Pretty decent jab, though, on the part of Ray Annis, who looked like he had his career really on a fast pace when he knocked out Tyrell Biggs back in April of '94, was moving along real good. Then he ran into Jimmy Thunder in August of '95, got stopped
Oh, uppercut by Annis.
for the first and only time in his career in the 7th round.
Arnie, Bobby Harris is getting hit flush with significant punches. He can't continue to take that kind of abuse.
Other thing we've got to talk about, should this pattern of this fight continue into any sort of rounds, is we were a little critical at Jimbo for not stopping that last fight. There was a school of thought that said maybe Bobby Harris shouldn't have gone the full 10.
And also, you raised a very good question at the outset of the show. Was Bobby Harris in too deep after a 6-month layoff to come back? Now it looks like we may have an answer to that question.
Nevertheless, incredible heart, Bobby Harris. The more you hit him, the more he comes back. But does he have the chin
Tell you what,
to match the heart?
And Bobby doesn't look like he's got a lot of snap on his punches, Arnie, tonight. He really doesn't.
Well, he doesn't have his legs totally back under.
No, he doesn't.
Ray Annis trying to be very economical right now, coming in at a very high 245 pounds. Well, I've got to tell you, even at 245, he doesn't look
right
back.
hand.
Right on the top of the head. And Harris again holding on. The referee can't get him off of Annis. Annis just
Clubbing right hands.
What's keeping Bobby Harris on his feet? And he continues to throw punches. He's on automatic pilot. Nothing on them, though. Annis knows that right now Bobby Harris has nothing on his shots.
Well, you got to wonder where Ray Annis' career. He's only lost 3 fights, but if he had been a little more diligent in his gym work, and he admits that's been his downfall. He's not paying attention to his conditioning, and it's cost him in fights.
He's toying with Bobby Harris, lands a nice left hook as he comes off the ropes, and really pacing himself properly here. Annis knows he's not exactly 100% in terms of conditioning.
Well, he knows Bobby's going to get a little frisky here, and he's just going to, you see what he's doing there. He's doing an Ali trick on the ropes. He's leaning away, leaning back, and now he's looking to fire back. Bobby Harris has nothing on his punches. Absolutely nothing. This is going to be a matter of pure will for Bobby Harris to hang in there.
And we're scheduled for 10, and this is the end of round number 2. Back to the corner with Bobby Harris, Jimbo Isperduli. Maybe questioning now the wisdom of bringing Bobby Harris in against such a tough man like Ray Annis.
Bobby Harris may be questioning whether this is his chosen occupation for much longer. I just got the feeling today, speaking with him, Arnie, that he really did not believe that he was back on track yet. And of course, why would he? He hasn't had any fights since he was beat by a 39-year-old Jesse Ferguson.
6-month layoff, the longest layoff of his pro career. And we're going to take a look at action from round number 2 and watch Annis come over the top here.
Just straight right hand right down the pipe, and you see how wobbly Bobby Harris was, just holding on.
Round number 3, we're scheduled for 10. Ray Annis, he's in the red shorts with the gold stripe. Bobby Harris in the solid black. It's been all Annis and big time in the first 2 rounds.
And Harris said that he had learned his lesson with Jesse Ferguson. He never again would underestimate a fighter. And I don't think he's underestimated Ray Annis. I think Bobby Harris trained very hard for this fight. But again, not a big puncher. Primarily relies upon his boxing skills, and that leads with the jab. But he's in with a puncher. Ray Annis has hurt Bobby Harris several times in the first 2 rounds. I mean, Jesse Ferguson really not noted as a puncher and had Bobby Harris down twice.
And I think it might have done, you have to look back now, John. Would it have done Harris better to go down on one knee in either one of those 2 situations, clear his head, and not take the punishment? A big problem with the Ferguson fight was he absorbed an enormous amount of punishment.
No question. Good point.
Too much heart for his head. A little more than a minute gone by here in the 3rd round.
Bobby fighting on really looks like on heart alone tonight. And Ray Annis, you can see he's just looking to drop that right hand in, waiting for the moment. Bobby kind of lowers his head, and Annis stands very tall, some of these shots he's picking off. Annis, not much of a jabber, you can see clearly. He prefers the power punches. And of course, tonight they've been very effective for him against Bobby Harris.
Yeah, they list both fighters at 6'3", but to me, Annis looks a good 2 inches taller.
Well, Annis just throwing that chopping right hand, trying to hit Bobby Harris high on the head. A lot of times that will cause a fighter's equilibrium to go out of kilter. And I think we saw it happen with Bobby Harris, and we're still not sure Bobby Harris has his legs under.
Oh, and he just ate enough left-to-right combination.
I'm not sure Bobby's ever really fully recovered from that first round.
I'm not sure he's recovered from the Ferguson fight. He's eating big punches now on the ropes. Oh,
right to
Annis
left.
has him going.
Let's see if Ray Annis can follow up now. Bobby Harris lands a short uppercut on the inside. Good scoring blow.
And Annis, again, continues to be economical about how many punches he's throwing. I think he questions his own stamina.
Tell you what, Bobby Harris continues to fight back, though, Arnie. He's showing no quit. And furthermore, that is kind of keeping Annis at bay a little bit. I mean, imagine if Bobby Harris was going into any kind of a defensive shell here. Annis would really step up the attack. Bobby Harris punching just enough. And again, Annis using the ropes. He's taking a breather here.
It's almost like a sparring session, though, at the moment for Ray Annis. Big left, right. Uppercut.
Miss with the uppercut.
Annis fighting in spurts, but
Yes,
doing it beautifully. Lennox Blackmore has to be happy with what his heavyweight's doing here tonight, 245 pounds or not. John, let me ask you a question, though, right now. And judging is obviously subjective. Is there going to be some judge that watches the third round and thinks, gee, Bobby Harris was busier?
Well, he certainly was busy with the jab. But again, how effective were those punches? And you have to give more weight to the heavier blows scored by Ray Annis. And I think we both probably gave Annis that round. I know I did.
Oh, absolutely.
Ray Annis, you made a good point. Fighting in spurts and coming off the ropes, using those power shots. And we're going to see that right here, Arnie, here in the third round.
Speaking of the ropes, watch this. Just watch how.
Well, actually, Annis is not coming off the ropes in this sequence, but he had Bobby going there, throwing the combinations.
As we begin round number 4, how do you have it, John Saraceno?
Got Annis winning each of the first 3 rounds, and I gave him a 10-8 round in the first round, Arnie.
Interesting. Okay, so you
thought Bobby was out on his feet.
30-26. I've got a 30-27. Ray Annis, he's in the red shorts, gold stripe. Bobby Harris in solid black. Harris never been stopped. Lost his last fight, though, on the explosion in 10 rounds to Jesse Ferguson.
Now, Ray Annis came into this fight saying, this is a crossroads fight for me. I've got to, he used the word salvage my career in this fight.
Now, it's an interesting situation, though. Annis has only lost 3 fights. He hasn't lost since August of '95. He lost his last fight to Michael Grant, the decision. 10-round decision back in December of '96. But after the Thunder fight, he rattled off 4 wins.
But he didn't really beat anybody of consequence, and that's the key. The 2 fights he had, and Bobby Harris bending low.
And they're giving Bobby Harris a chance. Ray Annis dropped in a low blow there, and they're giving Bobby Harris a chance to recover. Miguel Diaz also working the corner of Harris, telling him to sit down. But
this low blow stuff is contagious. I think Galata started something in boxing.
All right, Harris back in there now. Digs a left hook into the body of Ray Annis, and that's something that Harris should be doing more of. He needs to go to the body of the 245-pound, perhaps 10 pounds overweight Ray Annis.
I think what Ray Annis meant by saying salvage his career, he realizes he could beat the stepping stones and the trial horses, but he doesn't want to become a stepping stone for younger fighters.
Well, I think he felt that way with Michael Grant. That was a very big win for Michael Grant, who's now got a showdown coming with Jeff Wooden March 14th on ESPN. And that was a big win for Grant. But again, Annis supposedly wasn't in shape for that fight.
Bobby Harris now going to the body here in the 4th round, trying to slow up Ray Annis's offense. Annis, a big guy who can punch. Hey, you can make money in the heavyweight division. You got to stay in shape. You got to be ready. You got to take your craft seriously. He hasn't done that, admittedly, at times. It's costly.
Just when I thought Bobby Harris might be working his way back into this fight, his legs just went into automatic pilot and did a jig on their own. Ray Annis starting to open up again here in round number 4. About 45 seconds to go in the round.
Bobby's legs looking like Linguini, but very limp.
But so far this round, except for that one spurt from Ray Annis, Bobby Harris winning the round.
Yes.
Winning round number 4 here back in the fight.
He's outworking.
But you still get that feeling that when Ray Annis wants to put him away, he's going to be able to. But the question is, if we get into rounds 8 or 9, is Ray Annis going to be sorry that he didn't just throw caution to the wind and take care of Bobby Harris while he had him?
Particularly at 245 pounds, a career high.
Bobby Harris stamping on the mat, trying to get some feeling back into those legs that have been gone since round number 1. Having a good 4th round, though.
Se brindó más en este round y se ganó los aplausos del público y aquí lo aplaudió al subir como si fuera loca.
In the corner there with young Bobby Harris, talk about trying to salvage a career at this point. Doesn't want to have a second loss in a row, coming back after a 6-month layoff after a devastating loss to the 40-year-old Jesse Ferguson. He was down twice in that fight. 3 very tough rounds here. And all of a sudden, 4th round, he seems to be taking the fight now to Ray Annis.
It's a good thing Bobby Harris didn't buy the boxing grapevine talk that Ray Annis wasn't training at all and wasn't in shape for the fight. He was very suspicious about that.
Vamos al quinto round, un cuarto round que vimos más parejo contra los 3 primeros que le adjudicamos absolutamente a Ray Annis.
Lennox Blackmore, the trainer of Ray Annis, ends the between-round rest period with a playful slap trying to get his fighter started again. He let Bobby Harris back in the fight in round number 4 after 3 grueling rounds. All big for Annis, big enough that John Saraceno scored the first one 10-8 without a knockdown. But Bobby Harris somehow gets back in the fight in the 4th round, starting to give some lateral motion now and move around the ring.
I think he's trying to find those legs.
He doesn't want to sit there, though, with his hands down like that and let Annis stick that jab out there. Oh, Annis looking for that one good night punch.
Ray Annis can't afford to get too comfortable here, even though he built up that early lead with his power punching. Bobby Harris is a guy who's going to try to outwork you. He's not going to try to outslug you.
An interesting turning point in this fight as Bobby Harris continues to get back into the fight. When he got that rest period at the end of the 3rd round for the low blow, Bobby Harris, that sort of turned him around a little bit. Was that the 3rd or 4th round, John? I think it was the 3rd round.
Beginning of the 4th round.
Beginning of the 4th, I'm sorry.
And Ray Annis, again, laying on the ropes, and we expect him to come off with an explosion here at some point. He's done it several times. That was a dirty move by Bobby Harris and unnecessary to try to hit him behind his back with his head in a headlock. Bobby knows better than that. It also shows you a little bit about his frustration and sense of desperation in the fight. Probably tells you more about that than anything. Get ready. Ray Annis is going to drop that right hand in, Arnie. You can see him measuring it for him.
Well, he better, because he's losing this round, John.
He's trying to get a little punch
Blackmore
in.
read him a riot act between rounds, and he's not happy with what he's seeing now from his fighter.
Get ready. He can get a little punching room. Well, there's the chopping right to the top of the head. But he's got to do more than that. And the uppercut, another clubbing right hand by Annis. Bobby Harris is staying right on his chest. He wants to fight this battle inside, which you could question.
He wants to work the body of Ray Annis, and Bobby Harris, what heart, after getting pummeled for the first 3 rounds, came back in round number 4, and now really taking the fight to Ray Annis here in round number 5.
And Annis,
but Annis, big right over the top, and he's got Harris holding on again, and what a chin on Bobby Harris.
But I think Annis is giving this round away. He really is, through just inactivity. He's letting Bobby Harris out-hustle him. And maybe Annis figures, hey, I could have something in the tank if this thing goes the route. That's the way he's fighting.
Well, he may have him in the tank, but he'll have lost these rounds.
He'll be in the tank.
And I wonder whether the judges saw those early rounds, 10-8, like you saw round number 1, as Annis tries to finish strong. But another good round for Bobby Harris, working his way back into the fight. Back in the corner here with, let's see what Lennox Blackmore says to his heavyweight Ray Annis. He can't be happy with how Annis has done these last 2 rounds.
Well, I've got Bobby Harris narrowing the gap to 48-46, trailing by 2, but you're exactly right. If you don't score that first round 10-8, and you did, then really you might have a 1-point fight.
And look at Blackmore going crazy. And we take a look at action, though, early in round number 5. Take a look at Annis. Well, he's a little busier inside, clubbing right over the top, and that's been his Sunday punch thus far on Bobby Harris. Harris almost numb, though, from the earlier punches. He's like developed the ability to take him as the fight's going on.
Annis really getting dressed down in his corner right now. Now we're going to go back to earlier action in that round. Clubbing right hand.
Round number 6 was scheduled for 10. Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with John Saraceno. You got to be loving this one. 3 big rounds for Ray Annis to start the fight, and Bobby Harris working his way back into the fight after being on big-time Queer Street. Unofficially taking rounds 4 and 5, and could be in a one-point fight. That's Harris in the black shorts, Annis in the red with the gold stripe. No knockdowns, though, miraculously thus far.
Annis discovered, hey, maybe I should start jabbing a little bit to keep Bobby Harris off of me.
Well, that's one of many instructions that Lennox Blackmore
right
yelled at
hand
him between rounds, and he woke Annis up. And Annis now back.
Well, what's creating these power opportunities for Annis was the jab starting off the round. Boy, Bobby Harris continuing to eat that right hand from Ray Annis. And Annis has yet really to land that right uppercut in significant fashion. If he does, Bobby Harris is going to be in more trouble.
But it's interesting. I sort of picked up a pattern. Remember, I asked you at the end of round number 3, as a very tired Bobby Harris falls back into the ropes, how the judges might be looking at some of these rounds if Harris is the busier of the 2 fighters.
But Bobby Harris, very unsteady, Arnie. What's going on here? There's no stool there, Ray. You better get up. That happens at the end of the round. Bobby Harris going to the body. That had slowed down Annis earlier in this fight.
And Annis looked very fatigued as he slowed down on the ropes there. He was looking for a place to rest.
Bobby Harris should continue to whack him with both hands to the ribs. That's working for Bobby Harris.
The only problem is when you watch Bobby Harris's work on the inside, he's wide open. He hasn't learned how to go in, work the body shots, and get back out, John. And that's when he's very susceptible. He goes on the inside, and he eats big rights over the top, and now he's trying to tie up the hands of Ray Annis.
He leaves himself very vulnerable. But it seems most of the time when Annis is scoring with the big punches, it's really coming from the outside. On the inside, Bobby's not getting hurt as badly, and I think that's why Bobby Harris has chose to fight this fight on the inside with Annis and go to the body.
Under 30 seconds to go in round number 6. This is scheduled for 10. Bobby Harris working his way back in the fight and possibly now stealing this round after the first half was very big for Annis.
It's a close round.
Last 10 seconds could make this round happen, and and Annis heard the round was up for grabs, and nevertheless, very tough round to call here in round number 6.
Bobby Carly dice, esta lo gané yo, nosotros lo vimos parejo.
Jimbo Esperduli in the face of his young heavyweight Bobby Harris. Weathered a storm that I didn't think he was going to weather, John. If you asked me at the end of round number 1 when this fight was going to be over, I'd tell you halfway through round number 2. Yet, nevertheless, Bobby Harris has worked his way back in. We take a look at action here from round number 6, and take a look here. Bobby Harris laying back on the ropes, and watch Annis.
A short right hand. There it is.
And it was work like that that made me give round number 6 to Ray Annis.
I give it to Annis 10-9 also. You know what? Bobby Harris might not have the biggest punch in the heavyweight division, but he has one of the biggest hearts.
Vamos, vamos, vamos. No te vayas a quedar atrás.
Round number 7, and we're going to have to question right now the stamina of both fighters as Bobby Harris comes out fast with a double jab. Really trying to work Ray Annis on the inside. Annis looking very tired at points during round number 6. At one point, sloped down on a rope.
Harris has got to keep the pressure on. He's going to need probably at least 3 of these last 4 rounds, if not more.
Harris trying to work his way in. He double jabbed and dropped that right and ate a big punch again from Annis. Harris, though, working those body nicely, but elbows coming down, though. Annis blocking a lot of those shots.
Exactly, Arnie. But it also tells you where's Annis' stamina and legs. Why is he on the ropes? Bobby Harris piling up points with Annis on the ropes. Again, is he trying to sucker Harris in? He's done it before in the earlier rounds.
Well, for the entire fight, Annis has been very economical. It didn't matter much in the first 3 rounds because Harris wasn't throwing much, but as Harris has gotten a lot busier, Annis is losing rounds.
No question. Ray Annis can't fight this fight like he's got it won already. He can't go into a shell here. And of course, stamina, it seems, is foremost in his mind right now. You've seen him fight like this for the last couple of rounds. He's letting Bobby Harris take the fight to him, preferring to rely on his power game.
And these big rights, though, just really slow Harris down. Annis content to really do more damage with 2 shots than Bobby's doing with 20 or 30. And he's got Bobby leaning and hurt again.
In case anybody's wondering, we could use an umbrella here. They're fighting right above us, and we are getting sprayed like a March shower.
It is March.
Well, that's why I said that. An April shower.
Oh, and Bobby Harris rocked with that right. Looked like he was going down sideways there.
Bobby's legs aren't there, but I tell you, he's fighting on sheer willpower and determination. And Annis now trying to attack the body. Good move. 4 shots to the midsection.
Oh, Annis teeing off now on Harris. Harris threw a lot of punches in the first 2 minutes of this round.
Harris. But that right hand by Annis really stunned Bobby.
Miguel Diaz yelling in the corner to Bobby Harris, go to the body, go to the body.
You saw what happened there. Annis threw 4 body punches, got Bobby to drop his hands a little bit, and then immediately followed upstairs with a combination.
Annis giving his round away, though.
I don't know.
Is it heavier blows? But I really wonder. Bobby Harris won the first 2 minutes of the round.
I think
Annis only fought for 30 seconds of it.
Well, that's a good debatable point. I think that Harris...
Oh, and what a big right hand! And that's a knockdown. How could the referee not call that a knockdown, John?
It clearly was before the bell.
Before the bell, Bobby Harris went down, and Ben Estevez doesn't call that a knockdown. I'm amazed. Clearly a knockdown. I see Larry Hazard now talking to Judge Steve Weisfeld.
No question, he was down.
Certainly looked like a knockdown to me.
Well, Bobby Harris, early in the round was out hustling Ray Annis, but there was also a lot of holding going on in that corner. I don't know how many significant punches that Harris landed, but clearly at the end of the round, Ray Annis came on and hurt Bobby Harris, dropping him.
Well, John, my whole argument changed with that right hand. Clearly he went down. Clearly I then had to give the round to Ray Annis. Well, take a look here. How could Ben miss that? Clearly a knockdown.
In a telegraphed right hand, but Bobby Harris unable to get out of the way.
And you cannot be saved as we begin round number 8. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round here in New Jersey. So he should have counted. For those of you who missed that at the last second, at the end of round number 7, Ray Annis dropped Bobby Harris with a big right hand. Not called the knockdown, and no count, though, issued by referee Ben Estevez. Nevertheless, we were having a debate here on whether Bobby Harris was going to pull out the round for being busier, and Annis having the heavier shots, and that sort of ended the debate, huh,
It
John?
became academic at that point. And my scorecard, I've got Harris trailing by 4 points. He's got to have a stoppage in the last 3 rounds, unofficially on my card. How do you have it, Arnie?
I've got it 68-65.
Bobby Harris can still pull this fight out, but he's going to have to summon from deep within inside. And Bobby is not the kind of one-punch, lights-out puncher either. So really, he's in a hurt locker here. I mean, you picture him stopping with Ray, and Ray Annis knows he's ahead. Ray Annis is just not going to quit in this fight.
And let's face it, official knockdown or not, that punch at the end of round number 7 had to really take its toll on Bobby Harris.
Right, and if judges were leaning on which way to score the round, they then knew that Annis was going to get the round. Bobby Harris continuing on unsteady legs, 2 chopping right hands. Let's see if Annis can finish the job, Arnie.
Oh, Annis just teeing off.
Those right hands just finding the target, like Bobby Harris has a bullseye painted on his forehead. But Harris continuing to fight back, and then you see Annis taking a breather on the ropes. But this is not going to be enough to win the round. I'll tell you what, Ray Annis would do well to at least hold on to Bobby, or at least try to show that he's throwing some kind of leather.
Ray Annis is in the red shorts with the gold stripe. Bobby Harris is in the black. If you're just joining us, this is scheduled for 10. No official knockdowns thus far in the fight, although arguably we'd have to say that Harris was down at the end of the 7th and miraculously not down in the first 3 rounds.
Bobby's just getting hit with these short punches on the inside is off the clinches. Punches that really a seasoned professional should not be getting hit with.
Tremendous heart on the part, though, of Harris, who came back big time in rounds 4, 5, and for part of round 6. Great corner work bringing their fighter back.
Also,
Miguel Diaz and Jimbo Esperduli.
Tells you what kind of condition Bobby Harris is in to take this kind of punishment.
He did it in the Ferguson fight, but it's not a healthy way to fight. You don't get a long career fighting the way Bobby Harris has fought in the Ferguson fight and in this fight.
And you end up walking on your heels down the road. Ray Annis throwing wide shots. Bobby Harris, not a lot left at this point in this round.
Oh, tremendous shots.
That came after the bell, the last one.
Harris raises his hands after taking a pummeling. He doesn't know what's going on.
He's out of it, Arnie.
Bobby Harris ya perdió la brújula. Ray Annis ha demostrado que si esos 10 segundos de acción intensa los empieza a utilizar poco antes de que termine.
Action here at the end of round number 8. Just take a look at the unanswered punches thrown here by Ray Annis. Bobby Harris out on his feet.
Ray Annis knows all the punches. He throws some of them a little bit wide, but I tell you what, when the guy is not defending himself and he's there to be hit with those pot shots, you're going to take them.
This isn't a macho game either right now.
Ray Annis' corner trying to get him to use that jab to set up that right hand. I'll say the jab has not been a significant part of Annis' arsenal. He hasn't really needed it tonight.
Round number 9 is scheduled for 10. A very big finish for round number 8 for Ray Annis. Big half a dozen unanswered punches. Bobby Harris raising his hands, though, after taking the 6 brutal shots.
Well, the way we have it scored, Bobby Harris is going to need a knockout to win this fight. He's got to have to rally.
I've got it 78-74 at the end of 8. John, how do you have it?
78-73 Annis.
And of course, the one differential between the two of us is you gave a 10-8 round to Annis in the first round. If you're just joining us, no knockdowns in the fight, but a disputed knockdown came at the end of round number 7.
And you see Bobby Harris arm punching with the right hand. Not a lot of steam on those shots. He's going to have to let it all hang out at some point here, Arnie. With about 5 minutes to go in the fight, he's going to have to gamble. Even if he gets caught in the exchange, he's going to lose the fight anyway.
A little more than a minute gone by here in round number 9. They're right above us in the corner here. Harris not a lot on his punches right now, but getting busy again.
Well, he's trying to go to the body to get Annis to drop those hands down, so maybe he can sneak a right hand in or a left hook. If you look up the phrase clubbing right hand in the boxing dictionary, you will see a picture of Ray Annis.
How about spraying sweat? They're right above us now for the last minute and a half.
Harris continued trying to work the body. Annis content merely to take the shots, lay on the ropes.
Is Harris stealing the round, though, John? That's the
No question he's winning the round. Annis is doing nothing to win the round, but he knows he's ahead in the fight. Annis content to take those little pot shots with the right hand.
And to fight in spurts. When you watch, Annis will wake up here in about 5 seconds, and he's going to go out, go strong the last 45 seconds. He hasn't exerted any energy here in round number 9.
This may be it right here.
He's just looking to time Harris on the way in. Meantime, Harris getting his legs back for about the 4th time in the fight. Round 9, all Bobby Harris.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy fight off the ropes more, but still winning the fight in convincing fashion. As you said, many times he is fighting in spurts. But this is professional boxing and not amateur boxing. You don't get the same amount of points or the same amount of weight in the scoring for just throwing a jab and hitting the guy with a jab.
Oh, but look at Annis opening up here at the end of round number 9, and he's got Harris going again.
If he could just step inside and turn that right uppercut, and now we're not just getting hit with sweat. The red stuff's starting to come out. Somebody is cut, and I think it might be Bobby Harris. Actually, it looks like it could be coming from the nose of Ray Annis. Whatever it is, it's messing up my scorecard, and it's making it very colorful.
Now, at the end of round number 9, after laying on the ropes for virtually the whole round, Ray Annis opens up in the last 10 seconds. Again, almost dropping Bobby Harris. It almost looked like if he took a half step back, Harris would have fallen forward. Not enough, though, John, in my opinion, to win the round.
I gave the round to Bobby Harris.
As did I.
But I've got him trailing 87-83 going into the 10th round, so it's almost academic. It is academic. He's got to have a knockout to win the fight, at least on our scorecards.
Vamos a ver cuánto aire le queda a Ray Annis en este 10º y último round a tocarse los guantes como
10th and final round, and if you were here for the first 3, you're wondering what's kept Bobby Harris up.
Guts.
Never mind what's kept him in the fight. Guts and heart, and a very good corner. Nevertheless, Ray Annis coming in at a very high 245 pounds of career high. That's Annis in the red shorts, gold stripe. Bobby Harris in the black. Been very economical with what he's done tonight. I think he had some question about how strong he could go for 10 rounds, especially after losing a 10-round decision to young Michael Grant. Didn't punch himself out early. Although at this point, I think in retrospect, you can build an argument that there's several times where he could have jumped on Bobby Harris and ended this fight.
I think he elected to conserve some of that energy. And again, he's a seasoned fighter. Ray Annis is no big fool. He's not going to waste a lot of energy unless he sees an opening he can capitalize. Bobby Harris continuing to get whacked with the right and the left hand. He's had few answers for Ray Annis here tonight. We've got Harris behind in the fight, needing a knockout to win.
I wonder what they're telling Bobby Harris in his corner. I don't know if he knows that. And here, big combinations in close now by Ray Annis, who knows that he's got less than a minute and a half to go. And maybe he can finish Bobby Harris and make go into the pencil academic. Oh, and Harris on shaky legs again. Oh, and a big clubbing overhand right. What's keeping Bobby Harris up?
Left
followed
hook.
by a left. Ben Estevez has to take a look.
He's ready to go.
Here. Harris just keeping his gloves up, taking a pummeling, throwing a towel, and he can't win this fight, John. There's no reason to let him take this kind of beating.
He's out on his feet. The
They
fight
should
should be
stop this
stopped.
fight. Stop the fight, and they do. What a mercy stopping. That's it.
It was late, though, Arnie. It was late. That fight should
That
have
was
been stopped.
5 punches too late, and I was watching the corner. Bobby Harris's people should have thrown a towel in.
Yeah, he was out on his feet. The last 20 seconds of that round, Ray Annis just teeing off as if Bobby Harris were a golf ball. Bobby Harris defenseless, fighting on pure heart, reflexes, and instinct.
And we're going to take a look at the sequence here, John. Take a look. It started with that overhand right. Bobby Harris goes on shaky legs, probably the same legs that never really regained 100% from round number 1. Oh, and
saw Bobby Harris wince with that right hand.
Oh, just grimacing, and you know he's in big-time pain right now. He's not even numb from being on Queer Street. He's hurt tremendous hard staying up. Ray Annis just pummeling him. And at this point,
it was late.
It was a late stoppage.
Bad job by the referee.
And let's talk about the corner a little bit. They could have stopped this fight.
They should have stopped the fight.
Bobby Harris has now taken 2 tremendous beatings, 2 fights in a row.
There was no way he was going to win that fight, Arnie. And clearly, Bobby's not a puncher. He was going to stop Ray Annis. And when they saw him in that kind of trouble in the final round, they should have stopped the fight. But again, the referee's job, first job in the ring, is to protect both fighters. He did not protect Bobby Harris.
All right, and we're going to go up to Dennis Miller with our official time of the knockout.
Time of contest, 2 minutes, 9 seconds of round number 10. The winner by knockout, Ray Annis.
Ray Annis improving, 24 wins, 3 losses. That's his 18th win by knockout. Bobby Harris drops down to 18-2. John, we can't Monday morning quarterback here, but we talked about it in the open. I think that we can be sure this was the wrong comeback fight for Bobby Harris.
They bit off more than they could chew, and maybe Jimbo Esperduli felt, look, Bobby Harris has been around. He's got to learn that this fight game is a serious business. If I feed him another tomato can, he's not going to work hard, and maybe he gambled in the wrong direction. Clearly, it did not work out for Bobby Harris tonight. But what a nice win for Ray Annis.
All right. Now, earlier today, we had another crossroads heavyweight battle between Derek Banks, who came into the fight with an 11-2 record, 7 knockouts, against the guy that we sometimes call the yo-yo, Derek Roddy. Came in 17-10, 15 knockouts. Big punchers, both fighters. Banks really trying to get on track and get past the fighter like Roddy. Roddy looking to get back into contention as we still take a look at Ray Annis, very exhausted there. On the other side of the ring, confused our ring announcer. But it was a major crossroads matchup, and Banks was coming in after getting off the floor against Yuri Yelastrado. As we take a look also at Bobby Harris, still not quite sure where he is. Banks got off the floor in his last fight in October against Yuri Yelastrado in England, winning his 10-round decision and going 10 for the first time. Derek Roddy has lost 2 10-round decisions, has lost his last 4. It was a very interesting matchup between the 2 fighters.
Quite an ebb and flow to that fight.
Quite an ebb and flow. And if you wonder what's going on in the world